A girl named Jenny, and although she is beautiful, she is depressed and lives alone and wakes up from sleep to the sound of a car driving in the street. And when she looks, she finds that the driver wants a girl to ride with him. Jenny notices that this girl has a red line coming out of her head, and this, dear viewer, means that she was previously in a relationship with someone. As for the driver, she is surprised that many lines are coming out of him. This means that I am a dangerous young man, and Jenny enters the apartment and goes back to watching TV, and also sees the red threads on the actor's heads and starts talking to us her story, and we know that she was born with this strange ability. No one else could see the lines except her, and one day when she was little she saw many threads on her father's head, and she did not understand their meaning, and told her mother. But her mother discovered their meaning and knew that he was cheating on her, and she could not bear it, and unfortunately, she finished him off and left the house and ran away, and from that moment our hero felt guilty, because she was the reason, and decided not to tell anyone anything about the red threads again. And when she grew up, she tried many times to fly to get relief from her life, and she stood in a high place and closed her eyes, and she was still not affected, and another time even her hand was hurt, and for a moment the blood returned to her hand again, but they all failed, and she knew that she was cursed, and this strange ability saves her from death. So she decided to discover her secret, and what she wants to know is why she is the only one who can see the red threads. Jenny wakes up from her memories, and suddenly the doorbell rings, and when she goes to look, she finds her new neighbor. At the time, she sees many red threads on her head, and she knows that she was engaged more than once, and she is afraid and refuses to open up to her. Her neighbor wonders about her personality and tells her that she wanted to get to know her and drops her jaw in front of the door, and Jenny walks happily. This is the first time someone cares about her and takes the bag of fruits and continues to eat while she is happy. After that, we see a handsome young man named Chan, and we know that he is a police officer, and it is known that there is no case that he cannot solve. He enters the name of Annie. His colleague notices that he is upset and goes to him and asks him why he was late today. This is not from his side. He tells him. He tried to talk to his niece to know who is bullying her, but she refused to tell him. His colleague tries to reassure him and tells him that she is still young and all girls her age are bullied. After that, a policewoman arrives and asks to speak with Chan alone. He praises that the two are in a secret relationship and asks him to propose to her before she gets married, but he talks to her and refuses, and she asks her husband what he proposed to her. Your wedding is in a week. The policewoman finds out that he is playing with her and decides to leave him. At that time, we see his niece, whose name is Zion. We learn that she is being bullied at school. Her classmates take her to the rooftop. They keep hitting her because they are jealous of her, because she is beautiful and smart. She reaches the leader of the bullies and beats her with sticks because she thinks she has tempted them. She informs her uncle Chan about them. She pulls her hair and takes her to the rooftop and threatens that if she does not carry out her orders, she will make her fly from above. At the same time, Chan goes to investigate a crime that happened and learns that they and their neighbors saw a man wearing a helmet entering her house yesterday, and it is possible that he did this. Chan concludes that he was not a delivery person because the house is clean and there is no resistance or anything broken, and this means she knew the person here, and he could definitely be her lover who did this to her, and decided to look for him until he finds him. At night, we see Jenny watching TV, and she knows that there is a new crime, and the crime happened close to her, and the bullies say that they suspect the criminal is a delivery guy because he was the last one with the victim before she died. Suddenly, she hears a sound in the street and sees a man wearing a helmet, and there is a red line coming out of his head, and she notices that this is the same delivery guy they were talking about, and she notices that he entered a neighbor Euro's apartment, and she thinks he is the criminal, and she gets scared of him and calls the police, but she is surprised that they are hugging each other, and she knows that the two of them are related, and she feels embarrassed and has to close the door again, and starts hallucinating and imagines a lot of red threads around her. She gets scared and does Neuro to understand what is happening to her. The next day, the bully notices that Shaun did Neuro to come to school and gets angry because she was asking her for money, and she goes to break the closet as hers. She takes everything she has, destroys it and a gift bag, and is surprised that she wrote a love letter to her colleague and decides to blackmail her. At the same time, Chan returns home and prepares to sleep because he was upset all night, but he finds Zion waiting. He is surprised that she did not go to school. She tells him that she needs money, and he actually gives it to her, but he asks her why she wants it. When he gets closer to her, he sees a slap on her face. He knows that she is being bullied and asks her who did this to her, but she gets nervous and refuses to tell him. She asks him not to interfere in her life and leaves him. Chan gets angry because he is unable to help her. Suddenly, He receives a call from the name and tries to answer. They tell him that a woman called him yesterday and told them that she saw the criminal, but she hung up and said that he was the delivery man. When he knows her address, he is surprised that she is the building in front of him and decides to go talk to her. He keeps knocking on her door, and Jenny is standing there. Behind the door, she sees a lot of red threads on his head. She gets scared and refuses to open it for him. By chance, her neighbor, a teacher, comes down and tells Chan that she is isolated from life and does not leave the house at all since the day they met. But Chan does not give up and reassures her that Shorty is asking her about the person she saw yesterday in the street. Jenny is forced to open it for him. She tells him that it was a misunderstanding. She knows that he turned out to be her neighbor's lover. She quickly closes the door, and Chan gets closer to her personality. He feels that she is hiding something and decides to watch her. He leaves her and walks. At night, Jenny hears someone's voice on the stairs. When she looks behind the door, she finds the delivery man, but she is surprised that he is also looking at her. She feels that he is seeing her through the helmet. She gets scared and moves away from the door. At that time, Shaun is sitting in the street and receives a message from the bullying girl threatening to bring her money with her tomorrow and to beat her and break a bone in her face. Shaun gets scared and does not say she knows what to do and sees a girl who just took money from the bank and decides to rob her. She keeps following the person when she gets close to her to take her bag, but her conscience stops her and she changes her mind. After that, Chan sits with his fellow detective and learns from him that the dead girl's lover was a teacher. When he sees his picture, he is surprised that it is the same teacher he met at Jenny's apartment. He suspects him and decides to investigate him, but suddenly he receives a call from the hospital where his father is detained. They learn that his father disappeared from a cat, and he asks his colleague to go and investigate the teacher. He runs to the hospital and keeps looking for him everywhere until he finds him standing on the roof. He tries to talk to him until the nurses arrive. After that, his fellow detective reaches the teacher and takes advantage of the fact that he is not there. He enters his apartment to search it and notices that he drew red lines on the wall. He is surprised and does not understand its meaning and decides to call Chan to tell him, but suddenly the teacher arrives and attacks him from behind and chokes him. He succeeds in hitting him again, making him lose consciousness and ties him to a chair. He puts the helmet under it, and it becomes clear that he is the criminal. He decides to go and finish off his girlfriend, but Jenny sees him and knows that her life is in danger. For the first time in her life, she decides to take a step. She grabs her knife and decides to get out of the mess she lives in. She has to go and stab her. She leaves her apartment scared, but she stumbles on the stairs and falls to the ground. Because of this, she faints. At that moment, she dreams of her mother and sees her standing in front of her, extending her hand to her. As soon as she holds her, she wakes up and gathers her courage and goes to her slave's apartment. She sees the criminal teacher trying to strangle her. She asks him to stay away from her, but he makes fun of her. He approaches her and while investigating, he says, "You have always lived in the apartment. You have nothing to do with anyone." He takes the knife from her and says you are a coward and you couldn't do anything with her. He gives her one and that's it. He is rude to the ground and goes to finish off his lover and let her know that she betrayed him, but she pushes him away and expects his look at that time. She takes advantage of the fact that he is looking for her and he is also obsessed and says, "Where are the glasses?" Her maid goes to check on Jenny, but she is surprised that she is not breathing and thinks that she is dead. She keeps crying and gets angry. The criminal approaches her and decides to finish her off, but suddenly Jenny wakes up and this is because of her supernatural ability that grants her the ability to escape death. She encourages him and attacks him. She succeeds in hitting him in his legs. He is surprised that she is still alive.
How?
He gets angry and decides to hit her again. Luckily, Chan arrives in time and sees him from the window and hits him with a gun. The criminal falls to the ground, and the red line disappears from his head. Jenny knows that he is dead. After that, the ambulance arrives and transfers the criminal's body and takes the girl to the hospital to examine her. Jenny is shocked by what happened. Chan goes to her and reassures her and returns her sun gaze to her and is surprised that she wears it at night. He doesn't know that she does this, so as not to see the red lines. Suddenly, Zion arrives and is surprised that they are standing together. It becomes clear that she knows our heroine. When they return home, she tells Chan that she was her classmate, but she left school when she decided to fly away from her father. After that, Jenny goes and sits alone. For the first time, she feels that her sadness is useful because she saved her neighbor from death. She is confused and doesn't know whether to remain isolated in her desires or go out and help people. Suddenly, she receives a message from an unknown number telling her that he can see the red lines like her. He asks her to return to school so he can tell her secret. Our heroine is surprised and doesn't know who, and she repeats that she does this. The next day, she starts to change herself, cleaning the house and opening the windows. all to get out of her isolation. At that time, we see a teacher and the students go to welcome her and help her park the car. It is clear that everyone loves her because she is kind and affectionate with them, but she is in a hurry and papers fall from her, and a student takes them and goes to return them to her. She is happy and thanks them and tells them to go into the classroom so that the class starts. After that, Shaun arrives, but is surprised that the bully is wearing the clothes she took from her closet. She also decides to write the love letter that she wrote to her classmate whom she admires, and everyone keeps leaving her. Shaun gets angry and loses control of herself, attacks her and tries to take the letter from her, but the bully is stronger than her, pulls her and throws her to the ground. She keeps training with all her strength. Fortunately, the teacher enters and moves away from her. She drops the letter and warns them not to come near her. She takes her and takes Zion with her to the office. She tries to comfort her and blames her for being suffocated with the bully and tells her, "If anyone is bothering you or bullying you, come and tell me, and I will get your rights." But Zion does not respond to her and leaves her and goes back to the class. She opens her closet but finds a pair of glasses that look strange and decides to take them. After that, Chan is in the name and learns from his colleague that the criminal had drawn many red lines on the wall. He is surprised and decides to go and see them. He actually finds them but does not understand their meaning and feels that there is a secret behind them. At that time, Zion returns home, puts on the glasses she found and goes to look in front of the mirror, but she sees a red line coming out of her head. She is surprised and does not know what it is. She goes to tell Chan, but she finds many red lines coming out of her head. She screams and leaves the house and goes downstairs. As long as she is walking, she looks at the people in the street and there are many red lines emerging from them, and she begins to understand more and realizes that the glasses know who each person is linked to, how many times they have been linked before, and the next day, she goes out of the house and Chan sees her and offers to take her, but she looks at the threads openly with contempt and leaves him and walks. When she arrives at the school, she begins to see the threads on the students' heads and knows who is linked to whom, and she is happy because she has discovered secrets that she keeps teasing them until she reaches the bully and sees a red line coming out of her head and tied to someone else far away. But the idea that she is among the teacher's leaders surprises her and continues until she reaches the teacher leadership, at which point she knows what happened and sees her standing with me and that they are the two who are secretly linked, and she is happy and decides to extort her in order to confuse the bullying stop and returns to the classroom. But she is surprised that the genie is there and she knows that she has decided to return to school again. She also moved to the open class and the teacher asked her to introduce herself. But Jenny feels embarrassed because she is not sociable. So she goes and sits in her place without talking to anyone. During recess, the bully and her friends take Shaun to the roof and beat her because she didn't bring money. But for the first time, Shaun defends herself by holding her hands and warning her that if she hits her again, she will expose her. The bully gets angry at her boldness, not knowing that she has discovered her secrets, so she hits her and throws her to the ground. Suddenly, our heroine arrives, grabs the bully and runs towards a fence, threatening to take her with her. She flies and gets scared of the bully and returns to forgive her, promising that she will not come near Shaun again or bully her. Jenny leaves her, and the bully realizes that she is not an ordinary girl. She takes her friends, and they run away from the place. Shaun gets upset at what she did and tells her not to interfere in his life again, indicating that she does not want to be a burden on her. At this time, Chan decides to go to school to try to collect information about the criminal because he was a year-old teacher, and he meets the good teacher, and she is impressed by his handsomeness. She talks to her, but he does not get anything about the red threads, so he thanks the teacher and leaves her and walks and goes to the club he was melting in. He shows the work his picture and asks him if he noticed something strange about him. The work tells him that the first time he put on his freshness, he started talking to himself and counting numbers as if he saw something that was not there. Shaun is surprised by whoever heard him and learns that freshness is available to him. He has a secret and decides to look for her to find out. At night, Shaun decides that she is the bully cubs to be sure and prefers to walk behind her until she sees her standing with the teacher. She takes advantage of the opportunity and takes a picture of them together. She sends the picture to the bully, but she is surprised that she is not afraid of her and learns that she is still young and will not be punished. Shaun feels frustrated and decides she sent the picture to the teacher, and in fact, the next day she does this, and he is afraid the teacher is married and asks for Zion from him $1 million or else his wife will say, and after school she walks with Jenny and thanks her for making her happy and tells her everything about the bully and the teacher, and she knows that when she gets the money she will leave home and go live alone because her uncle does not care about her, and Jenny says to her, "I envy you because you have someone from your family, but I am alone and no one asks about me." And when she returns home, she stands on the balcony and keeps looking at the families in the houses around her. She is upset because she has never been envied for the warmth of the family like them, and she wishes that her mother would come back to her again. And the next day the bully goes to talk to the teacher, but he keeps teasing her so that no one notices after that he takes her to the playground and asks her not to come near him during this period because he is afraid his wife will find out about their relationship, and the bully is surprised that he is afraid for himself and she is not a team with him, and she knows that he is taking advantage of her and leaves him, and she walks, and when she returns to the break, she notices a Nijin started, she takes her place, and has many friends who take pictures with her, and we know that she used her glasses and knew the secrets of the students, and because of that she became famous and all the students wanted to talk to her, and she was able to get engaged to her handsome colleague who admires her, meaning she achieved everything, and Jenny is surprised by what happened and sees that there is a secret in the matter and enters the bathroom behind her and asks her if she sees red lines, and Asian is surprised that she knows and tells her everything. She tells her that she found the glasses in her bag, and from that moment, she started seeing red lines. Our heroine tries to persuade her to get rid of the glasses, but Asian refuses and keeps using them. At night, she goes out with her colleague who admires her, and they have fun and spend a nice time and are happy, and they enter a shop to take pictures, but the bullying girl starts to scare them and indicates that she was in the bathroom and heard her conversation with Jenny and knew about the glasses and took advantage of her being distracted and steals her bag in order to take the glasses, and when she puts them on, she starts to see the red threads. She understands, just like Asian, her relationship with the teacher is known, and she gets happy and repeats that she also takes advantage of her, but suddenly, while she is walking, someone behind her back hits her on the head and takes the glasses. After that, Asian discovers that the glasses disappeared and thinks that Jenny is the one who took them. She calls her and asks her, but Jenny tells her that she didn't do that, and Asian is surprised and repeats that she goes to take the money from the teacher. She keeps running until she goes up to the roof at least, meaning she goes up for any benefit, and there she finds him waiting for her, but he doesn't have the money and returns. If she finds out that he is cheating on her, she will divorce him, but Asian refuses because he knew that the bully and her friends would beat her, and he didn't give them anything. She threatens him to pay her the money and for her to publish the picture and expose him. Suddenly, the teacher receives a message from his wife. She knows that he's cheating on her, so she leaves the house. The teacher is surprised and remembers Asian is the one who sent her the picture. He is getting closer to her while he is angry and decides to take revenge on her. At that time, Jenny worries about her and decides to go to her. She runs to the school, but when she arrives, she sees her sitting in front of her from above. She gets closer to her and cannot believe her eyes. She collapses and keeps calling her and sees the red line on her head and knows that she is still alive. She calls the ambulance and they take her to the hospital. She keeps waiting in front of the operating room, scared because her condition is critical. After that, Chin arrives and is devastated. He asks about what happened because he thinks that she did this to herself, but Jenny refuses to tell him anything about the school and the bully because he asks her how she knew and tells her, I am sure that someone pushed her from the roof. She asks him to look for him and leaves him and walks. The next day, she goes to school and notices that the bully did not come and complains that she is the one who did this to Asian. At that time, the principal keeps yelling at the employees because of what happened and he blames them for being negligent in their work, but the school gets angry because of what he said and tells him that they are not to blame for anything and quarrels with him. After that, the secretary enters, and it is clear that he is affected by something and sees his colleague and talks to him and asks him about the date of his wedding, but the secretary gets nervous and tells him that he is not going to get married anymore because she engaged him and betrayed him. He decides to travel abroad to forget her and leaves him and walks and goes to visit his sister to say goodbye and asks him if it is okay for him to stay with her for 2 days, and she agrees and tells him that his sister is busy and does not return home. At night, Gina goes to visit Shawn in the hospital, but she finds Shawn next to her and talks to him while he is crying, and she feels sorry for him and knows that he is a good person, so she tries to help him again and finds out who did this to her. The next day, she goes to school and goes up to the roof. She stands in the place where Shawn fell from yesterday. She tries to look for any evidence to know who did this to her. Suddenly, one of her classmates goes to talk to her, telling her that Shawn is a strong girl and has endured bullying and beatings, and it is impossible for her to fly, and someone must have done this to her. She is deceiving him in order to achieve it with the rest of the students. Suddenly, a silly student passes by them, and Gina notices that he is wearing glasses similar to Sione Euros. She runs towards him and deceives him, but when she puts them on, she does not see anything and realizes that they are ordinary glasses, and she returns to her normal state. The silly one is surprised by her behavior and leaves him. At that time, the secretary goes to submit his resignation, but he finds strange-looking glasses on his desk. He asks the school if she knows who left them here. She tells him that they are definitely a gift from someone and asks him to keep them because they are cute on him. The secretary tries them on again, but when he puts them on, he starts to see red lines. She is shocked and does not understand anything. He gets scared and scolds her again. After that, Chan arrives and talks to the school and asks about the bully girl, but she tells him that she didn't come today. He shows her a picture of the handsome student that Siwon went out with and takes him to school to talk to him, but when he goes to him, he notices that he is not interested in what happened to Siwon and gets angry and asks him to tell him anything. The young man tells him that it is the first time he went out with her, but suddenly he kept looking for her bag and then she left him and walked. Chan is surprised by his words. When he goes back to the name and watches the surveillance camera and realizes that what he said is true, but he sees the bully taking something from her bag. He is surprised and feels that she has something to do with what happened. After that, the secretary goes to his sister's house, wearing the glasses he found, and sits down to eat with her while she is short. He sees a red line between them and understands that this means that they are related, but the secretary notices that he has a lot of red lines and sees that it is making him feel uncomfortable, but he does not want to tell her until he is sure first. After eating, he rides with her in the elevator and notices that there is a line red came out of his head and reached the 4th degree and knows that this is definitely his lover, and she is his neighbor. At this time, Chan is surprised that his boss decided to close Siwon's case and goes to talk to him and asks him to give him a chance and says to him, "I am sure that someone did something wrong, and if you leave us right in the matter, I will know who it is." But his boss is not convinced by his words and knows that Siwon was an outcast and was exposed to bullying, and she definitely did this to herself, and asks him to drop the case, but Chan refuses and decides to complete the investigation into it alone and leaves him and goes. And the next day the secretary goes to collect his story from school, but he sees many red threads above his colleague's head and knows that they are connected to each other in secret, and the only one who does not have any red lines is the teacher, his kind colleague, and he asks her what she would do if she ran away, that someone was cheating on his wife. She is surprised by his question and tells him that she will tell her. He says to her, "What do you mean you would do this?" She tells him, "Because I love health every day morning and I see life being destroyed in front of my eyes." At that moment, he is surprised by her words and gets scared and doesn't know what to do. And when he returns home, he finds that his sister's friend has mistaken him and sees her neighbor's name on him and knows that her husband intended to send her a message, and he is sure that they are secretly in a relationship, and his sister feels sorry for him, and he sits talking to her and knows that her husband is going out and asks her if she loves him, but she gets nervous and tells him that he spends on her and doesn't let her and her daughter want anything, and that is enough for her. And he is affected by her words and doesn't want to tell her the truth so as not to break her heart, and he decides to confront her husband himself. And the next day in class, she publishes a picture of the bullying girl with the teacher, tahaha, and everyone knows that they are in a relationship. After that, Chan finds the teacher's body dead in a car, and Goon sends a handwritten message in which he says that he decided to fly. But he doubts the matter and feels that the action in it is the same as Zae Zion and goes to wait. Jenny is coming out of school, and he talks to her. He asks her to tell him everything she knows, but she tells him that it is impossible and asks him to find the glasses that were with Zion, and then he will understand everything, and leaves him and walks. After that, the secretary is going back home, but he sees his sister's husband riding in a car and stops a taxi and decides to follow him and sees him sitting with his neighbor in a restaurant and brought her a necklace as a gift and calls him and asks him about his location, but he lies and says that he is at work, and then the secretary is sure that he is fooling him and decides to make him regret it. He keeps watching them until he sees them enter a hotel room, and they follow him, or when they open it they beat him and threatens to expose him, but his sister's husband calms down and asks him not to bring anyone to him. He will leave his lover calm down and don't ignore him, and the secretary decides to give him a chance, but when he returns home, he enters their neighbor's email and finds that she has posted a picture of a fetus. She says that she is pregnant. He is surprised and finds out that she is pregnant, and he feels distraught and does not know what to do, because if his sister knew, she would be shocked. So he runs to catch up with her, but he finds her sitting on the ground, exhausted and feeling sorry for him. He promises her that he will take action, and when his husband returns, he pretends not to know them and leaves them and goes to hug her neighbor. The secretary gets angry and quarrels with him, but his sister stops him and repeatedly confesses the truth to him, and he is shocked that she is the one who is supposed to be his lover. The secretary is surprised by his words and that he thought his sister was his wife, and it turned out to be the complete opposite. He regrets that he interfered and ruined her life, so he goes to hug her little daughter while crying. After that, Chan enters the audition and keeps searching through it until he finds her diaries. He starts reading them, and she writes everything on the glasses and red lines, but he does not understand. He goes to meet Jenny and shows her the diaries and asks her, so she tells him everything. He tells him the red lines and knows the number of times a person has been in a relationship, and Chan is surprised and does not believe her at first, but he remembers that Siwon changed after she wore the glasses, and he knows that she is telling the truth, and he feels sorry for her because she has been seeing the lines since she was young, and because of this she isolates herself from life, and Jenny leaves him and goes. But the next day she has a nightmare and sees Siwon dying and wakes up terrified, but she is sleeping in the classroom, and thus she asks for her, and after the class, Aldaheek and his friends go to talk to her, and they notice that she does not have close friends, and they offer her to go out with them, but she apologizes to them and tells them that she has to work in a hotel part-time to be able to pay her school fees. At that time, we see the school nurse, and we know that someone sent her the glasses, and she is now able to see the lines and notices that her principal does not have any lines above her head, and understands that she has never been in a relationship before. At lunchtime, she goes to eat with her colleagues or in a restaurant, but she sees the music teacher sitting alone there, and everyone keeps talking about him because he is handsome and rich, and the nurse looks at him and laughs, and it is clear that she is one of his fans. At night, Chan sits with his colleague, the weaver, and tells him about the glasses that when he first puts them on, he can see the lines, but the weaver does not believe that there is such a thing, and Chan decides to look for them to prove his point. After that, Jenny is at work, and the clown goes to her, and his colleagues ask her to show them the hotel. Suddenly, the school nurse enters, wearing a wig and changing her appearance so that no one recognizes her. She takes the key to a certain room that she always promises in. She spends the whole night thinking about the music teacher that she loves. The next day, she goes out to go to work, and the clown and his colleagues are sitting on the roof, and when they see her, they realize that the school nurse is the same one, but her appearance has changed. Jenny notices that she is wearing glasses and starts to doubt her. At night, she returns home, but she sees news on TV about a person who killed his girlfriend because he knows that she cheated on him. She notices that she is also wearing glasses and is surprised and knows that there are more than glasses like Zion's. She is surprised and does not know who is pranking her on people and feels that there is a dangerous secret in the matter. The nurse goes to the music director and talks to the teacher, who likes him and keeps joking to get closer to him. When she looks in the mirror, she sees that their lines are connected. She is happy and knows that he also started to like her. After that, Jenny arrives at school and finds the victim waiting for her. He asks her to come with him and takes her to an abandoned swimming pool because he knows that she is isolated and does not like crowds. Jenny is happy because it has been a long time since she saw water. She goes down into the bathroom because that is a place that does not have lines. The victim worries about her and goes down after her, but Bella laughs. And they keep joking around with each other and having a nice time. When he takes her out, he covers her with his jacket. When he knows that she is hungry, he brings her the food that she likes. Jenny likes Bataba and feels that he is a good person. She tells him about the red lines that she sees. She thinks that he will not believe her, but he makes her know that he is attached to her because she has no reason to be attracted to you. Our heroine is happy with his words. When she returns home, she keeps thinking about him, and it is clear that she has started to like him. After that, she goes to work and the nurse comes in and she is upset. She always takes the key to the bathroom from her. She enters the hotel and puts on the strange glasses and stands in front of the mirror. She keeps talking to herself and says that she is special. Jenny allows her and is surprised by her behavior. She feels that she is crazy because of the red lines that she sees. Suddenly, the nurse hears the voice of the music teacher in the bathroom next to her. We know that she came here to see him, but when she looks at him, she is surprised. His wife is with him, and she knows that he is engaged to her. She gets angry and keeps telling him to regret it and keeps waiting for the girl until she leaves him and comes from behind her and hits her on the head with a fire extinguisher and takes her case and ties her up and changes her clothes and puts on her wig after that. She goes to the music teacher and is surprised when he sees her and asks her, "What are you doing here?" But she gets close to him and confesses to him that she loves him. And he is not his reason. He is afraid of her and tries to run away, and she knows that she is happy, but she is surprised that he is bleeding, and she knows that the blow was strong at that time. She feels that she will not be able to live without him, and she sits in the bathtub and he grabs her and flies. After that, Jenny goes to clean the hotel and finds the girl tied up and fallen on the floor, and when she enters the bathroom, she is surprised that the music teacher is dead, and she knows that the nurse is also the one who did this. She calls the police, and Chan reaches the body from the bathroom and asks Jenny about what happened. She tells him that the glasses are definitely the reason because she saw them while she was wearing them, and when she saw the lines she felt that they were special, and asks him to look for the unknown person who is distributing the looks because he is definitely the whole paper that is happening, and Chan does not believe him, but he enters the bathroom and keeps looking in the bathtub where the nurse is, and he actually finds her glasses dropped and takes them and decides to try them on and puts them on and stands in front of the mirror and is surprised that he was able to see the red lines and is sure that Jenny is telling the truth. And the next day he goes to the name while she is wearing them and sees red lines above his colleague and knows that they are in a relationship and is surprised because they did not tell anyone. After that, his colleague, the detective, arrives, and when he looks at him, he pulls his head 2 lines and asks him how many times he has been in a relationship, and he tells him he pulled it twice. Chan confirms that the glasses show the number of relationships, right? And he repeats to use them to know how Zion was in a relationship with who because he felt that her lover is the one who did this, and he is the one he suspects. He is her handsome colleague, who she was out with, and takes her and goes to the hospital and makes him stand next to Shaun because if it is really him, the line above his head will call her, and the student is forced to do that, and Chan puts on the glasses and looks at them, but does not find any continuous red lines, and makes sure that it is not him. After that, the idiot sends a message to Jenny, because he knows that her birthday is in 2 days, and decides to celebrate it with her. Our heroine gets nervous because she has always been isolated and has not attended any birthday and is afraid of upsetting the whole world. Suddenly, a message comes to her from the unknown person who sees the red lines like her and says that he will meet her soon. She is surprised when she reads it and does not know who he is. When she goes to school, she begins to suspect everyone around her. After that, Chan goes to the name and Balaz Mello and investigates the new case. It is about a student at school, and she tells them that an idol approached her, flirted with her, and blushed. They ask her if she is in a relationship. Before that, but she obeys him and tells them no, of course not. Then Chan wears glasses and sees a lot of red threads above her head. He knows that she is lying, but he keeps quiet because no one will stop him. He is forced to go and investigate the idol student, and there she sees the teacher and goes to talk to him and asks him if Saiwon came out of the coma or not. But he tells her still, and he notices that she does not have any red lines above her head and knows that she is in a relationship, so he admires her and asks him about the idol student and goes to investigate with him. But he denies it and tells him that he did not do anything, and Chan feels that he is telling the truth and leaves him. But he meets Jenny and is surprised that he is wearing glasses. She begs him to get rid of them because they are dangerous, but Chan refuses it. He says that she helps him solve problems, and the teacher allows them and goes to them and asks them why they are suffocating. But Jenny does not answer her, and Chan bids her farewell and walks, and the teacher keeps looking at him and sees a lot of red threads above his head. Yes, dear viewer, and we know that she is the unknown person who sent a message to Jenny, and she also sees the lines like her and laughs an evil laugh, and between that and that she is a psycho and planning something dangerous at night. Chan returns home but finds Jenny waiting for him, and she complains about what she said. She shows him a picture of her mother and asks him to look for her, and she feels sorry for him that she feels lonely, and he promises her that he will do so after he finishes the case he is investigating, and Jenny thanks him and leaves him and goes to the hotel, but she finds the idiot there, and he tells her that he called her, and she does not answer, and she knows that he has a phobia of the dark, and she plays a prank to take him, but he gets scared and hugs him because he feels reassured, and the two feel embarrassed, and they stay in each other's company. Jenny confesses her feelings to him and gets closer to him with the raisin medicine. After that, Chan summons the idol student to investigate him again and asks him to tell him everything that happened. The idol knows that his friend stayed up late with him and drank a lot, but he doesn't get close to her and asks him to believe him. Chan feels innocent, and when he checks the surveillance cameras, he sees a student of his classmate entering his apartment while he is sleeping. But when they come out, there are red lines on them, and he is surprised to know that they are the ones who did this to the student. He decides to arrest them and starts investigating them. He actually collapses and they confess everything, and the case is closed. Chan is happy and goes to tell Chan. He tells him that the glasses helped him and that he can use them for good, but she is afraid for him and warns him that if he continues to use them, he will put his life in danger. Suddenly, he receives a call from the hospital where his father is admitted. They inform him that Peter goes to him, and there the nurse tells him that she searched for him everywhere and did not find him. He decides to review the garage room, but he sees the school while his father is escaping from the hospital. He thinks that she kidnapped him and is surprised and does not understand why she did this. He knows that she is a psycho and calls his colleague to look for her. He worries about the Shaun and runs to check on her quickly. When he arrives, he finds him there and is happy that she is fine there, but he notices that the red line is open and connected to someone in the room next to them. He is surprised and knows that the person he is attached to is nearby and grabs the weapon and approaches him. But when he opens the door, he finds his father shocked and does not understand how this happened. He throws his glasses and collapses. He continues to care for him, and he falls on the ground. He wanted to finish him off, but of course, he is unable to do so. At that time, the genie meets the magician and tells him that he wants to be the first person to celebrate her birthday. She is happy with his words and repeatedly gets attached to him to experience the feeling. Love can make her ability disappear, and they actually go out together, and the idiot leaves her and goes to buy a car and finds our heroine in front of a mirror, and for the first time, she has a red line above her head, but suddenly she hears a screaming sound and the line disappears. She goes to see what's going on and is surprised that the idiot did something and died. She knows that she is cursed. Anyone who gets involved with her dies, and she remembers her memories with him and feels that she is the reason. She sits on the floor and collapses from crying, and suddenly she receives a message on her mobile from the unknown person sending her a picture of her classmate while she is tied up, and he asks her to come to school quickly, and our heroine is surprised and does not know what to do. She calls Chano and meets him and asks him to help her, and he feels that teacher Psycho is behind what is happening because she is the one who distributes looks to people, and he decides to arrest her to know why she is doing this. He goes with Jenny to school to save her friend, but they separate from each other. Jenny succeeds in finding her colleague. She takes it apart, and they leave the classroom, and they keep calling Chano, but he doesn't answer, and they decide to run away. But when they go down, they always go back to the same place, and Jenny is surprised and doesn't understand what is happening. She feels like they are in a maze and is forced to go up to the roof, but she finds herself in a strange place and sees the psycho teacher. She lifted Chan into the air and strangles him and screams at him and asks her to leave him, and Psycho laughs and throws her to the ground and approaches her to talk to her and says, "We are the two of us who are alike. We were born with a strange ability to see things that no human can see, and she knows that she is a witch, and her goal is to make all humans see the red threads so they know who is betraying them, and for this to happen one of them must sacrifice himself." And our heroine is surprised and knows that she wants to sacrifice her, and she refuses and tries to escape, but Psycho casts a spell on the people who distributed they look at them and control them, controlling them by making them stand around her to prevent her from escaping and approaching her and preparing to hit her, and Jenny gets scared and closes her eyes. But suddenly her mother appears and stands in front of her, taking the hit in its place. Our heroine is surprised by what happened. She slaps her, and her mother apologizes to her for being distant from her and says to her, "I also took a look from the Psycho, and because of that, I was able to see the red threads and knew that your father was cheating on me, and I couldn't bear it and decided to make him fly." And she cries and asks her to forgive her. "And the last thing I will tell your husband is that I love you." And she closes her eyes and unfortunately dies in her arms. Jenny collapses from what happened. She is miserable and slaps the Psycho, but she hits her in the stomach, lifts her in the air to sacrifice her, and throws her on the ground and begins to do the magic spell on her so that all the people see the lines, and she is happy and thinks that she won. But suddenly our heroine wakes up, and it becomes clear that she was acting in order to deceive her. She takes advantage of the opportunity and gets close to her and keeps hitting her until she finishes her off. And Psycho is surprised, but she laughs and says that it is too late and the spell is complete, and falls to the ground and dies after that. Jenny wakes up and finds herself back on the roof of the school and thinks that the matter is over. She takes Chan so that they can leave, but she is surprised that her friend can now see the red lines, and she is not the only one. Everyone can now see the lines because of the spell of the Psycho teacher. Everyone is surprised by what happened, and no one understands anything. A whole year passes on that day, and we see Jenny riding the subway, and everyone is wearing helmets to see their lines, and our heroine finally feels that she has become an ordinary girl like the rest of the people. She goes to visit the grave of the charlatan and looks at the picture, and is sad because he is the only person she loved. She wants to keep her thoughts, and suddenly she hears a voice calling her, and Psycho appears from behind her and hugs her, and she says, "I miss you," and from here the series ends. And this means that there is a second part that will be released soon, a second part in which we will understand everything. Like and subscribe our channel for more recaps.